Hi, and welcome to another episode. Now, I've got a bit of a problem. Someone else has phoned me and told me about a poor classic car sitting in their garage, going to waste, hasn't been run in years, and I just had to go and buy it. Now, I got myself a cup of tea for this one because this is a Mini Twinings. So my dad and I picked up this car yesterday. This is a 1992 Mini 1000cc Special Edition Twinings. Now, Twinings was a sort of limited edition that actually only came out in France. They did Twinings and After 8, and they sort of were trying to surf on the British brands. So Twinings was one of them. So they all came out like this. It's a pretty base model Mini. It hasn't got alloy wheels. It's just got Twining stickers, which you've seen here. So it's got these Twining stickers on the sides and on the back with the gold stripe down the side. They were all black. And then it's got this interior. Now, in here, we have got some seat covers, which we're going to take off. And underneath, we have got some fairly nice condition seats. Not the sexiest things you've ever seen, but they're in good nick, so that's quite nice. There was a Twinings embossed steering wheel. And I'm going to show you something that I have never seen in a classic car before. Classic car, old car, any car, in fact. If we get in the passenger side down here. Now, this is a hand controller for the radio, a Philips radio, which is actually under the seat. So under this seat, there is the radio, and then to control it, you had radio on, off, volume up and down, the power on and off. Now, the little screen seems to be damaged in here. It's like one of those old-fashioned calculator screens. But it's, yeah, it definitely does stuff when you press it. I haven't actually tried it out. So that's pretty cool. And that used to sit down on there, but the little plastic clip has broken off, so I'm going to have to see if I can try and fix that. So that would sit on there and you could control your radio. This was obviously before steering wheel controls, I presume. So yeah, that's quite cool. There we go. So we've got a 998cc A series engine with a single HIF carb on the back of it. The car has always been fairly well looked after. This has done 73,000 kilometres from new, so around 48,000 miles, I think. And it's only had 2 owners from new. So the car hasn't really been run for the last 4 or 5 years. The last technical inspection, as you can see here, French technical inspection, ran out in January 2020, and that's normally valid for 2 years. So that ran out in 2020. So the last technical inspection was in 2018. And when we look around the car, we've got service tickets here, and that says 2018, 25th of the 1st, 2018, at 72,946 kilometres. And the current kilometerage on the clock is reading 73,266. So the car hasn't really been driven that much at all since 2018. And as of today, 2018 is 7 years ago. So the car is obviously got absolutely no battery. The good news is I've pumped up the tyres and they're holding air, which is good, and they don't seem to be cracked in any way. So we know that the engine turns over and that it's not seized. So we're going to put a battery jump pack on it and see if we can get it started. Right, so first look at the car has shown that the coil isn't actually that old. The spark plugs look okay in it as well. But we've put a spark plug tester on the car and we're not actually getting any sparks. So Dad, I don't like electrics at all. So Dad is going to come over and have a look with me, try and work out why we're not getting spark to the spark plugs. Probably something to do with the wiring here between the distributor and the coil. Apart from that, we have got coolant in the coolant tank. So that's good. We've got good brake and clutch fluid levels. And so far, so good. So we're going to try and work out this wiring issue and then see whether we can get a spark to try and give it a start. Another important thing to do is going to be to check the fuel in the fuel tank. So if we remove the keys from here and have a look inside. Now, smell is always a big one when coming to fuel tanks. I always find if it smells like white spirit, then generally it's not good news. Now, can we see anything in there? Try and get the camera to focus a little bit more. Hang on. Now, I don't think you guys can really see it on the camera, but the fuel tank is actually looking nice and clean in there. There's about half a tank of fuel in it, and the fuel actually smells like, or the petrol actually smells like petrol. It doesn't smell like thinners or white spirit. I am half suspecting that the old owner had put some fuel in this and endeavoured to try and start it, but you know, it obviously wasn't starting because there's obviously something wrong with the distributor cap or the coil wiring or something like that. So hopefully, if we can sort out the spark, with that fuel, that petrol smelling pretty okay and the inside of the tank not looking rusty at all, hopefully it will fire up.
So this is earthing rather than, why is that earthing? I open that up, does that break the earth or not? Can you? That's there. So if I open that.
With Dad having fixed a broken wire going to the coil and cleaning up all of the points, we finally had spark going to the spark plugs. So now all that was left to do was turn the engine over and try and start it.
So now we should have spark on the spark tester, should we?
We should start. Yeah, go on. No, we've still got nothing coming up. Oh yeah, there you go. You got it now. Go on.
Is it me or did that nearly fire?
That nearly fallen.
Bit of choke?
Yeah. Got easy start.
Yeah, it's on the floor there.
Go on then. Try again.
That's running on easy start, that is. So have we got fuel coming up?
I don't know.
Now that the car was running, I was dying to get it out on the road. For that, I thought it was a good idea to change out the old spark plugs for some fresh new ones and check all of the components, as in the brakes, the steering and the suspension, before heading out.
Okay, that's that done. Nice, quick and easy job. Let's just start it up and see if it still runs. Now, just seeing as this car hasn't really been run any time at all, I've actually got some Bardell carburetor cleaner which you put into the fuel tank. I was intrigued by this stuff because that smells like thinners, really, cellulose thinners. Probably shouldn't sniff it too much, really. But this apparently, running through the fuel system, is going to clean out the carburetor and remove any sort of old debris and all the rest of it, old gunk that's sitting in the carb, which there probably is a little bit of build-up of that. It runs all right. I'd say it actually runs a little bit better on choke at the moment than it does when you take the choke completely off. But again, I'm sort of not that fussed for a car that hasn't been used for so many years. I think it's one of those cases where a good service and then just a good drive and, you know, a good runabout will probably do it a world of good. So we're going to stick this in now and see how we go from there. See whether, you know, while driving it with this in the tank makes it any better. If anyone knows what this actually is made of, please let me know in the comments. As I say, it smells like either white spirit or cellulose thinners. There's obviously something in there that's going to clean with all of the fuely, gunky residue off of the inside of the carb, so it must be something thinners or white spirit based. So now that we've done that and we're fairly confident that the brakes are working properly, the engine has got coolant, it's got fuel, it's got decent level of oil. We've put the new spark plugs in it, which have now got spark as well, which always helps. So we've checked all the tyre pressures and the car does stop and brake and all the rest of it. The thing that's left to do now is to take it out on the road and give it a test drive and see what it's like on the road. So this is my first drive. I have to say, it puts a smile on your face. Oh, I love a little Mini for that. It's just, I mean, I don't want to sound too cliche, but it's just such a little go-kart. And it doesn't feel legal that you can drive this like this on the road. I mean, you're within the speed limit, but it feels like you're doing 1,000,000 miles an hour. The car's not overheating, the brakes are working well, the engine is getting better and better as I drive it. I think that product is starting to clean the carbs and it's all starting to sort of warm up and work properly. There's no knocks or bangs from anything. There was a bit of a squeal from the fan belt earlier and there's a few sort of minor rattles, but it's a Mini. I mean, you know, you can't really expect much less than that. But it picks up well. neighbour. I have loved Minis for years, and I've always wanted to have a little Mini to bomb around in, but it was finding one that was reasonably priced and wasn't absolutely rotten, and I think that really is the case with this car, and I couldn't be happier. So we need to put a battery in it, because at the moment it's running with a booster pack, not ideal. We need to put it through a technical inspection to make it road legal, and then really finish giving it a service. Obviously I'm going to do oil change, filter change, I'm going to do a coolant flush as well, make sure that's all good, and then we can start modifying it. So stay tuned for the next episode. There's a lot more coming up on this. There's an episode coming up on the Jag as well, and I've got quite a few other fun bits and bobs to do. So hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I think I might nickname this car roast beef, which is what the French call the English, so I think it's quite fitting to call the English car roast beef, and that is supposed to mean roast beef, they just can't pronounce it properly.